Hello, my name is Ram Reddy.
And my name is Ramya Reddy. Today we're going to talk about our project. There were over 700 fatalities and 89,000 crashes involving drowsy driving in this 2017. This is a statistic that we found alarmingly high during an era where we often stress the importance of safety. Several car companies, who are also alarmed by these numbers, have created their own driver drowsiness detection systems that use sensors that track the driver's steering wheel movements and/or lane positions. Both of these systems can be used as a metric. However, these systems suffer from a gross oversight. They cannot determine whether or not a driver is drowsy before they actually show signs of fatigue. Our solution avoids this, as it is based on artificial intelligence, more specifically a convolutional neural network, which is able to improve its accuracy and also predict a driver's drowsiness state.
Moving onwards, our convolutional neural network, or CNN, was the focus of our project. The image here is the example of the CNN and also the parameters we used.
The next step is to talk about how the CNN model is able to classify eyes as either open or closed. First, an input stream comes from the camera, and we use HAR-like features to locate where a person's eyes and face are. HAR-like features are simply boxes that have a light side and/or a dark side. For example, in the picture in the bottom left, there's a box with one light column and two dark columns surrounding it. This can be used to recognize a nose, but there are other patterns for different features. These features are found using the Viola-Jones algorithm.
Once the Viola-Jones algorithm detects the face and further the eyes, these are further fed into the model for classification. Many layers would be used to summarize the given data. However, this led to a lot of overfitting, so we needed a lot of regularization. Regularization is a technique used to discourage the learning of a more complex model to avoid overfitting. This image right here is a visual depiction of a CNN.
For the actual dataset of open and closed eyes, we used a public dataset from the Media Research Lab. It consists of over 80,000 images and includes various characteristics such as camera lens, lighting conditions, and the presence of glasses. Additional research methods include the k-fold cross-validation, which resamples the dataset into subsamples so that we could then validate the model and adjust the hyperparameters accordingly. The hyperparameters are used to control the learning process and change how each layer summarizes the given data.
For our experimentation, we used two different methods of determining a driver's drowsiness. The first method was using binary classification, which classifies whether or not a person is drowsy, and the second method is categorical, which classifies the percentage of eye closure, or otherwise per-close, analysis to determine how drowsy the driver is. We use the accuracy to calculate how good each of the models were, and then to calculate the accuracy we use cross-entropy functions, which is calculated from a softmax and sigmoid activation function.
Going back to hyperparameter tuning, we focus on the k-fold split, the number of filters, the number of epochs, the batch size, and the model architecture. As we said earlier, the k-fold split is used to validate the model. The number of filters determines how the data is summarized, and as for the number of epochs, as shown in the two graphs shown above, at the 50th epoch for both of them, the graphs began to show erratic behavior instead of acting in a linear fashion. This shows that the model is overfitting, so we chose to lower the number of epochs. Finally, as for the model architecture, we used different layers to classify the data. We used various convolutional, dropout, and dense layers.
Ultimately, we were able to determine that the best model for this project was using the binary classifier, as we can see in the bottom left corner. And the main takeaway was that the binary classifier consistently had a much lower loss value and a much higher accuracy, with an average of 95%, as we can see in this graph, compared to the corresponding categorical classifier. Also, we have two pictures showing the binary model classification in two different eye states.
As for strengths, considering how the camera is implemented, this system is non-intrusive and can be embedded into modern vehicles, unlike some other systems that measure a driver's fatigue. In addition, since the model uses artificial intelligence, it is capable of having extremely high accuracy, but it is also capable of improving upon itself. As for weaknesses, our actual data analysis can be bettered. Regardless, our drowsiness detection system will be able to prevent such related incidents from occurring, as it is a viable detection system.
One of the things we want to do in the future for this project is adding more images to the dataset so we can increase the categorical classifier's accuracy.
Finally, on our last slide, we have included our most relevant resources. Thank you for listening.